Hi, folks. This is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, over the last several years, maybe even decades, soft plastics have become almost the go-to lure for a lot of people because they can be formed in many different shapes, different sizes. When the fish hit them, they're soft and they feel real in their mouth. But there's something that I really want you to be aware of, and I became extremely aware of this winter as I started to sort out my tackle and plan for spring. And what I found, one of the big mistakes I made last year, I had some living rubber jigs. Now, what that means is, unlike a bucktail jig that is made with hair, a living rubber jig has strands of, they call it living rubber, but it's a plastic material that forms the legs of the jig, and it looks similar. It has a similar purpose and look in the water. Well, I stored them in my tackle box with the plastic tails still on them. And when I opened the boxes to see what I had and to start planning what other colors I might need, some of these became a conglomeration of goo. The two different types of plastics, by setting together in the tackle box, closed in for a long time, had melted each other into a mess. And even if it's a slight mess, it ruins the lure. For example, what I found also is some of the soft plastics had reacted with the paint on the jig head and caused the paint to sort of melt and become gummy. And it's awful. So you need to be aware of each company might use a different formulation of soft plastic. You don't know this. You don't know. There are some companies that tell you straight out, do not mix these soft plastics with any other. And that is ZMan, which uses a special type of plastic. It's an incredible plastic because it doesn't cut as easily. It doesn't get broken down by the fish. They last and last and last. The negative part of it is, boy, you can't even store them in a lot of tackle boxes. Your best way to store that plastic is in the container it comes in, the plastic container. And one of the things you'll notice also, when you go into any store to buy your soft plastics, a lot of the packaging now is shaped and grooved so that the tails lie straight. And that's really important. If that soft plastic swim bait is going to look right in the water, it's got to be true. It can't have the tail curled up in one direction or the other, or it won't swim right in the water. And that's why they do this. So my recommendation, which goes against everything I've ever done, is to try to keep your soft plastic baits in the container, the soft plastic bag that they came in. And so that requires a whole different kind of tackle box to store this stuff. But it really is a good tip to pass on to you. I was talking to my buddy Dave Swanson, and I was telling him about this and how I was going to pass this news on. And he says, I got to tell you, remember we've been raving about Louis Barclay's Creatures. Well, they are a soft plastic tail with living rubber leg strands that he'd run through the soft plastic to make it look like it had arms and legs. And the fish would go crazy for this. Well, Dave says, I found a few packages that I'd never used. They were still in their soft plastic bag, and they were all gummed up, gooey, because the two different type of plastics had reacted together. So this is, I think, a great tip for all of you. Now, you may have for years done them your certain way, but remember, tackle companies are constantly trying to improve, trying to come up with something new, something that's better. And they're probably constantly doing things with their plastic formula to try to make them the ultimate look-alike to the fish. So be careful with your plastics. Be careful how you store them. And hopefully it'll help you out this year. Until next time, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.